Hello and welcome. My name is Al Barrows, and this is UFO Disclosure, the podcast that's meant to show an average person's reaction to all the UAP, UFO news from everywhere and anywhere. Today, I'll be taking a look at various sources to see whether 3I Atlas is a natural comet or extraterrestrial technology. Is 3I Atlas an icy comet or alien life form? A Harvard astrophysicist is making waves with an assertion that a recently discovered comet could actually be alien technology. It is one of the three known interstellar objects, meaning it came from outside Earth's solar system. One recent report is theorizing about the possibility of it being of alien descent. So I'd like to take a look at various sources to see what 3 Atlas really is and what is truly going on. Why is it called 3I Atlas, for example? Well, a telescope in Chile, part of the NASA-funded Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Alert, which is what the acronym stands for, or ATLAS, was the first to spot what initially looked like an unknown asteroid on a path approaching Earth's orbit on July the 1st, 2025. Fresh observations are now shedding light on this mysterious new interstellar visitor, and what they reveal is sparking serious curiosity. Scientists are starting to notice some things that don't quite add up. It still looks like a bright glowing comet, but they argue that this object deserves serious attention because what appears ordinary at first glance may in fact be something truly extraordinary. And while many experts believe this object is simply a comet, likely coming from the dense star-filled region near the center of our galaxy, others aren't so sure. Some scientists raised questions about its unusual behavior and characteristics, suggesting there might be more to it than meets the eye. They argue that we shouldn't dismiss it as just another space rock. Instead, it deserves a closer look, more serious study. A few researchers have even gone so far as to suggest that this object may not be entirely natural at all. They propose that it could be masking some kind of alien technology beneath its comet-like appearance. One of the most well-known voices raising this possibility is Professor Avi Loeb, an astrophysicist from Harvard. He recently stated that this object might actually be of artificial, possibly extraterrestrial origin, and that we should stay open to surprising discoveries. Professor Loeb isn't making these claims without reason. He points to specific details about 3I Atlas's motion and path through space that seem too unusual to be purely coincidental. According to him, the object's trajectory and certain other features don't completely align with what we'd expect from a natural comet. One of the strange things about 3I Atlas is that even though it entered our solar system quite a while ago, our telescopes didn't spot it until it was already very close. That's not how things usually go. Most objects coming from interstellar space are detected early when they're still far away. But this one slipped through mainly because of the direction it came from, which made it difficult to detect. It was heading in from a part of the sky that's hard for us to monitor effectively. Another major point is about its orbit. Most interstellar objects enter at random angles, but this one is different. Its path lies almost perfectly in the same flat plane that the planets orbit in, the ecliptic. That kind of alignment is incredibly rare, and it's not just a coincidence. This angle would actually allow a flyby path that brings it closer to multiple planets, almost like a planned route. It's similar to how we designed the trajectory of our Voyager spacecraft to pass by several planets for study. According to calculations, the chances of this kind of precise alignment happening randomly is only about 0.2%, And it gets even more curious. The object passed unusually close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. These are some of the closest planets to Earth. And having an object from another star system come so near to all three in one journey is highly unlikely. The chances of this happening randomly are around 0.005%, which is extremely rare. It's almost as if the object is on a carefully chosen path, one that maximizes interaction with the inner solar system. Another weird coincidence is that when 3I Atlas comes closest to the Sun, or its perihelion, it will be on the opposite side of the Sun from Earth. This means Earth will be completely blocked from seeing it at that moment. The Sun will be right in the way. The chance of this kind of alignment is around 7%, which again is not very high. It feels almost like the object is deliberately avoiding our view, slipping past Earth through its one major blind spot. So in Professor Avi Loeb's own words,
so the unusual trajectory of this object offers the possibility that it might have been designed so as to have some goals of a reconnaissance mission. So it's possible that it's a comet, but if that's the case, it will become very clear as it comes closer to the Sun and gets heated so that its evaporation rate gets much larger. And then the glow of dust and gas around it should be apparent.
So there are a few interesting points worth noting, is that this object is extremely old, at least 7 billion years old, and possibly even older. That's far older than even our solar system, which is only 4.6 billion years old. So we're looking at something that was already ancient when the sun and planets were just forming. Now here's where things start to get even more interesting. Currently, 3I Atlas is moving near the sun, and normally an icy comet in that position should start to heat up and release gas and dust, forming a visible tail. But this object has shown no tail, no such tail so far, which is highly unusual. That lack of outgassing is making scientists even more suspicious. It's not behaving like a typical comet at all. Recently, astronomers started getting structural data about this object. Some claim that it looks like a dense, compact ball of light, which is quite different from the fuzzy, irregular shapes of most comets. Some scientists have even suggested that the object could be hiding something behind its bright comet-like appearance. If it were just a random comet or asteroid, we'd expect it to follow the typical rules of nature. But instead, it's doing some very strange things. It entered our solar system in a highly precise, flat orbital path, slipped through our detection systems, passed unusually close to key planets, and reaches its closest point to the sun right when Earth can't see it on the opposite side. If someone or something wanted to quietly observe us without being noticed, this is exactly the kind of route you might take. That kind of stealthy behavior, if intentional, fits right into the logic of what they call the dark forest hypothesis. It suggests that if advanced civilizations do exist, they might choose to explore silently behind natural-looking objects like comets or asteroids, and carefully planning their movements to avoid detection. Not because they're hostile, as some on social media have suggested, but because they understand the risks of being seen in a possibly dangerous universe. Well, this isn't the first time we've come across a mysterious visitor from beyond our solar system. Back in 2017, remember when we detected the first known interstellar object, Oumuamua? At first, it seemed like just a strange, elongated asteroid passing through, but later observations revealed odd behavior like unexplained acceleration and no visible tail, which didn't match what we know about comets or asteroids. Despite these strange signs, the scientific community dismissed it, assuming it must be natural. By the time some scientists, including Avi Loeb, raised the possibility that it might be something artificial, or at least unusual, it was already too late to observe it properly. It had sped past Earth and was already on its way out of the solar system. That moment, in many ways, was a missed opportunity. So now with 3i Atlas, we have a second chance. We've learned from Oumuamua that strange interstellar objects deserve more attention. Now I'd like to explore a report that seems to be confirming that 3i Atlas is indeed extraterrestrial technology. Okay, so this is an online magazine called Galactic Anthropology, and it's dated August the 10th of this year. Author is Juiced. The title of this online article is 3i Atlas a spaceship with its own consciousness without any crew aboard? It's based on Elena Danan's ideas. On August the 9th, it says here, of this year, Elena Danan started posting on TikTok that Atlas has its own consciousness. She has quite an amazing story to tell, according to this article. Her source is an extraterrestrial by the name of Thorhan. And the article includes an excerpt that I'll be playing in just 1 second, where Elena Danan described what she has shown on TikTok. Here we go.
My contact, Thorhan is his name. He's a Pleiadian. He is a high commander, and he has sometimes is going for a trip in space, in the star system. Anyways, he was on board a scout ship of the Federation, and he contacted me, and he said, hey, guess what? I'm gonna show you something. And still, wow, he was showing me, it was very dark space, and kind of a rock, space rock, but it was seen from the front, so it looked round and with a sort of haze around it. And I said, what are you showing me, space rock? You are just bothering me for that? And he said, oh no, look closer. And he drove the ship along it, turned around, and I could see the long shape, rocky shape. And I went, oh my gosh, is that the 3E Atlas that's in our star system at the moment? He said, yes, I'm there, and I'm showing to you what it is like. Oh my gosh. And so there was a haze around it, but I said, it's not a comet, it has no eyes, so how come there's a slight haze around it? And he said, look closer, I'm going to show you through the haze. And it was a rocky, very, very long, like Oumuamua, same type of thing. And when the ship got closer, the haze dissipated. And it was a holographic shield. The haze is a holographic shield that when you try to remote view this thing, or to try to take photos from outside or from the Earth, you see a space rock. But if you go through the holographic shield, you see the actual spaceship. It is a transport cargo. So I could see little windows on the side, and it was not lit up, all dark. And here is what Thorhan told me. There is no pilots, no crew in it, nothing. But this thing is one of these ancient ships who have a own consciousness, a plasmic consciousness in it. They are alive. They are living space beings. Okay? And they are more ancient. This one is more ancient than our star system. It comes from very far away, very ancient times, and it didn't want to be noticed, so it came from the center of the galaxy axis. Then we couldn't see it approach because it's very bright, and then he came here, and now it's exploring our star system. It's very curious. It is called an explorer, and it's going to go back after it turns around. And these beings, as I explained in my talks, I'm an international speaker. I do conferences about exotechnology. And as I explain it, and also in my books, these beings, they recharge and they feed from stars, from gravitational fields, and especially gravitational fields from the stars. They're the biggest. And they're going to go, and where there is gravity, there is energy. Why? Because gravity are longitudinal waves, and it just goes through the ether that is composed of tiny particles, atoms, because space is not empty, and the gravitational waves are going to just excite the atoms and the particles of ether, and then it's going to create frill, or energy from the void, which is not really. And so that's why stars produce energy, because they emit these gravity waves. And these beings, they travel from star to star to feed. It's beautiful. The universe is beautiful. So I saw 3E Atlas. It is not a comet. It is not a space rock. It is a ship. I wouldn't say ship. It is a being. It's alive. And it is positive. It is very wise, very ancient. These beings live out of linear time. So for them, time is nothing.
Okay, so that was Elena Danaan describing what she was shown by her extraterrestrial contact and describing the nature of what she thinks 3I Atlas really is. She thinks it's a conscious spaceship without any crew inside. She says it has a type of consciousness that's called plasma consciousness that can attach to matter, like spaceships. If you guys recall, recently Jake Barber also described seeing a kind of spaceship that felt as if it had its own consciousness. So when it comes to 3I Atlas, all sorts of theories are being spread. I personally prefer to have an optimistic take on what it really is. And I would love for Elena Danaan's account to be true. But unfortunately, she has not provided any proof as of yet. My name is Al Barrows. This has been UFO Disclosure. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.